in Bratislava. That's the castle. And the Danube is right here.
Because here in Slovakia we have only 5.4 million people focus on the district number 1, a restaurant that's called the UFO restaurant. And that's why we guys sometimes call this bridge the UFO bridge, because it's super easy to know which bridge we mean. And no, it's not a rotating restaurant, it's not a proper UFO, but it's not a problem.
Built in 1972 by the Soviets. No central pylons. Also pedestrian underneath. Crown on top of the cathedral. Hungarian kings were crowned here. Before that, the Ottoman Turks were here. The purpose of Holy Trinity columns was to celebrate the church and the faith, though the plague motif could sometimes play its role in their erection as well.
Very, very bad. Because rich people did not take baths, they just used expensive perfumes. Poor people were just stinky, and that was basically it. And that's why the serious epidemic spread here. And 30 years after this epidemic, in 1740, Maria Theresa became the new ruler, and she built many hospitals, improved hygiene. And because of her, there were no more plague epidemics here. So whereas when we speak about the Jewish population in this city in past, we were predominantly Orthodox. Unlike in Budapest, where the majority of people are Reformed, Jewish believers, here in case of this city, we had 3 synagogues and 2 of them were Orthodox. Due to this road. So as you can see, the road is open here.
The communists destroyed everything that's red.
To demolish almost everything from the Jewish altar because, well, for them religion was totally not important, not culture, nothing like that. So in Zamoska there was another synagogue which was Orthodox. That one was demolished as well, and we still have in our city one more synagogue that was originally Orthodox, and that one is not directly in the historical center, so it was not built in this area, and that's why the synagogue survived.
These stacked stones show the foundation of a Jewish home that was here. Lots of stones, no flowers, tradition. The Holocaust Memorial is located in the center of Bratislava's Old Town, on the site of a former synagogue that was demolished in 1969 to build a highway during the Soviet period. The monument was erected in 1996 to commemorate the 105,000 Holocaust victims from Slovakia. This big black slab partially hides the freeway and indicates what was here before the Soviets tore it down. And you can see an outline of the synagogue that was destroyed.
Which means that we have still not entered the original territory of this city. And you can see, here are the city walls. Concertoval, which obviously means gave a concert. He was really 6 years old. In the 1980s, he made the position of Jewish people, Protestants, and Orthodox Christians much better. They became more or less equal to Roman Catholics. And then that was in 1780s, and then later from the 1850s, friend Joseph was the ruler, and also under him Jewish people were able to have much more rights and more freedom than before.
St. Michael's Tower.
In a dirty greenish version. 2 years ago they renovated it, reconstructed it, and it turned out
Of the original 4 gates in the city walls, this is the only one that's been preserved. The street of pubs. Lots of pubs down the street. A museum. There's the castle. Here's a bunch of cakes. Main Square. It's called the Main Square. Not very big. It's the oldest square in the city. There was a square here in the 1200s. Maximilian II, first Habsburg king who was crowned here. Little nude boys who are peeing. In the 1500s, 1700s, women weren't allowed to view it, then they had to cover their eyes when they walked by. It's the old town hall. Oh, they did tortures in the basement. The mayor was the judge.
Cannonball comes from a Napoleonic army attacked our city, and they kept on shooting at us from the other bank of the lake. And they damaged several houses here in Bratislava. After a reconstruction, the owners of those houses placed such cannonballs into walls of each of those buildings as a memory of that event. Of those houses were entitled to some tax reduction. And that's exactly why a lot of people's houses had not been damaged at all. They just kept on looking for cannonballs in the streets of Bratislava.
And this is the present city offices. Greek pediment.
There is the cardinal's hat, and it's there because Archbishop Baťány, for whom this palace was built, he was not only a common archbishop, he was even a cardinal, and he wanted everybody to
cardinal's hat.
The other group where Napoleon's army was fighting against the joint armies of the Habsburg monarchy, so also against us and against Russia. And Napoleon had less troops than his opponents, but he was a better strategist. So he managed to win this battle, and the peace treaty after the battle was signed in this palace, and the name of the peace treaty was the Pressburg Peace Treaty, because at the time the city was called Pressburg.
St. George is slaying the dragon. In this case, St. George is slaying the dragon, representing winter. This is the jewelry section. There's Chopard, I don't know, Pasquale Bruni, Pomellato, and Rolex. In 1997, several human-sized bronze statues appeared around the city. According to local legend, if you rub this man's head, your wish will come true. The poor guy was decapitated a couple times, so they put up this warning sign. Thanks to the internet, here's a couple more bronze statues in Bratislava. The National Theater, this opera house.
At the same time, the prices are very friendly, and that's why sometimes people who live in Vienna prefer our opera to theirs, because the Viennese opera is so expensive, and now there's the scene of the Slovak Philharmonic, where concerts of classical music take place. That's also quite popular among Austrians.
Have I ever wanted to leave somebody on purpose?
This is modern Bratislava.
I never.
Where we